In this demo, we are going to create and run a SharePoint Online to SharePoint Online document library migration, which now supports migrating versions and metadata. You want to start by creating a document project in MigrationWiz. You want to give your project a name and create the customer if you haven't already done so. Creating a customer requires you to define the customer's primary mail domain and customer name. When creating your source environment endpoint, you'll give the endpoint a name, specify the SharePoint endpoint type, and then the SharePoint URL. If you are using our SharePoint app, which leverages application permissions, you'll want to add this to the source tenant. In order for you to successfully use the app, we need to authenticate against a user in a security group, which you create called MigrationWiz. The user in the security group does not have to have any special permissions. You can add the user's mail address and password here, where it says administrator username and password. You'll then want to create your destination environment endpoint. Give the endpoint a name, specify the SharePoint Online endpoint type, and then the SharePoint URL. You need to add the SharePoint app to the destination like you did for the source. You create a security group called MigrationWiz and add in a user. That user's mail address and password needs to be added here. The SharePoint Migration API uses Azure Storage as a staging area for data. You can choose to either use Microsoft provided storage, which does not have a data limit with our SharePoint Online endpoint, or if you prefer to use your own storage account, you can add in the storage account name and private key here. On the project summary page, you will have helpful information linked to our Help Center for review with the SharePoint Online Migration Guide or our Migration Strategies KB. Now that the project is created, you'll then update the advanced options by adding in the initialization timeout window option, which is very important for migrating large document libraries. You'll also need to add the application impersonation enablement option, which tells the tool that the source environment is using the SharePoint app with application permissions. This is also where you can make a change to the number of versions migrated with the tool. The default is 3, but can be increased to 25. Now that the advanced options are set, you can create the line items for the project, which map the SharePoint document libraries from source to destination. You can do this one at a time with the Quick Add option, or Bulk Add with the CSV. With the project set up, you can start your Verify Credentials pass. Verifying credentials doesn't require a license, but will confirm whether you have configured the source, destination, and project correctly. If you haven't already purchased licenses, you will need a shared document license per line item or document library. Each license is capped at 50 gigabytes. If a document library has more than 50 gigabytes, you'll need to purchase an additional license for that line item. Now that the verification has completed successfully, we can begin our full migration pass for all documents, versioning, and metadata. After the full migration pass is completed successfully and the cutover has occurred, you will want to run an additional full migration pass to migrate the file and folder permissions, as well as any new versions of the documents. And those are the simple steps of performing a SharePoint Online to SharePoint Online migration with MigrationWiz. Any further questions about the new features and enhancements can be discussed with our sales team at sales@bittitan.com.